I love the live chat.
Welcome to the live stream, Arm Wrestling fans. I'm Pradeep from Arm Wrestling News, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Herman Stevens. Welcome, brother.
What's going on, Pradeep?
I'm fine, brother. So today we are going to discuss two topics. First, 4 or 5 minutes approximately will be about Herman Stevens' personal life, his arm wrestling experience, his upcoming events, and the next 15 minutes are going to be a detailed discussion about King of the Table 5, which was an amazing event. So, how has life been, Herman? Like, we used to get your updates on your YouTube channel. We kind of knew what you were going through after that hurricane, and after that we do not know, like, how has life changed for you? What was your lifestyle in 2019-20 and what it is right now?
Well, 19 and 20, I would, go to work. I was renovating properties after that, so really busy. The hurricane came, destroyed a lot of my properties, so life became fighting with the insurance companies and my lawyers to sort of get compensated for that. Um, Fast forward to somewhere in the middle of 2021, I think, or end of 2021. I'm done with insurance companies. I'm done with all the hurricane stuff. But I did get COVID in the last half of 2021, and that hurt me pretty good. And after that, I started having problems with my elbows. I guess I've had problems since 2019 when I pulled the Dadikyan at Zloty. And yeah, so this year, I think sorry, in the summer of 2021, I had a really bad performance at a tournament, and I finally said, look, I can't compete like this anymore. So I took time off. I think it got better. But then again, sometime this summer, man, I thought I needed surgery. I'm not going to say that I was depressed, but just very like down about arm wrestling. Um, Long story short, I think I've figured some things out, and I think my elbow is, coming back at this point. During the last training cycle, things were going well. I get COVID again, a lot of fatigue, but I kept training, and here we are today. I pulled a couple tournaments recently, small tournaments. I've done okay. My left feels really good. My right seems scared to really go sideways. I really like to go sideways. But mostly my goal right now is training Jonathan Brita. Jonathan lives maybe 5 minutes from my house, and I think he's been at my house to train maybe 5 days a week for the past 6 months. So that's really what's been going on.
I just saw a video about Jonathan Breda on Brad Cook's channel. Can anyone stop Jonathan Breda? So what event was that where he was beating everyone left-handed?
That was the Texas State Championship. Wait, hold on.
Like, that video
I'm
was
trying
just
to
uploaded
remember.
maybe 3 4 hours ago.
Yeah, I think this was actually Mississippi State. So we did two tournaments 2 weeks apart. And yeah. So I think Brad's behind. So this would have been Mississippi State. I think this tournament would have been maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. Jonathan pulled, let's see, he pulled 235 left and right, and he pulled, I think, supers left. His right is good. I think it may be maybe top 10 in North America at 220. So it's okay. Um, his left has been number one at 220 for a few years now. And at this tournament, he won the 235 class super easy. No one did anything to him. And then he went to the supers class and he beat Wilton Brock to win the super heavyweight title. Now, I don't think you know Wilton Brock. Maybe you do, but most people don't. Wilton is like a mythical being in the southern United States. Sometimes he comes, sometimes he goes. And usually when you see him, he's really, really good. And so if you go back maybe 5 years before arm wrestling really exploded, when you looked at the best super heavyweights left-handed in the United States, in no order, you'd have Devin, Eric Waffel, Christian Benny, these guys. And then right below that, I think, was Wilton Brock. And Jonathan beat him and won the title. So I think right now, Jonathan, weighing about 230 pounds, is somewhere in the top 10 overall in North America.
So, Herman, we have talked a lot on Facebook. Like I message you very often, but I haven't invited you on my channel ever. So, for some of the viewers who have not seen your matches recently or anything on your YouTube, just give a brief introduction about yourself. When did you start arm wrestling, and like what are your biggest wins in arm wrestling?
I started arm wrestling in 2010 in Louisiana. Eventually, I moved to California, and that's kind of where I really did some good stuff. But overall, I have wins. I'm not saying I'm better than any of these people, but I have wins on Tom Nelson, Kenny Hughes, Rob Vigent, Todd Hutchings, Craig Toulier, uh, uh, Dan Mosier. Who else? I don't know. And I would say in recent years, since I've been more busy, I'm not 200 pounds. I'm not 210 pounds. I'm around 235 to 245. I've been competing at super heavyweight. Um, I've been ranked as high as number one, 220 North America right-handed, probably top 10 left-handed at times. At other times, I've been maybe ranked as high as, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 super heavy in North America. Because I've beaten some pretty decent guys there. So I've done a little bit of everything.
So, as of today, if I ask you now, how far are you from your peak condition in whatever year that was? How far away from that you are in terms of, let's say, 10%, 20%? What would be your estimation?
Let me give you one more accomplishment that was pretty good that I forgot about. I went to the Zloty tour in 2017, and I got third place. I lost to Rudakov, who's a guy I think that's beaten Prudnik or has had hook wars with Prudnik. I beat Vasily Daltashvili, who's I'm pretty sure WF world champion. He has wins on Brzezinski.
Yeah.
He also beat Prudnik that day. And I think I'm one of only 3 Americans to get a medal at the Zloty Tour in the 95 kilo class. I could be wrong, but the other 2 would be John Brzezinski and Todd
Travis.
Hutchings. They both won it.
Okay.
And I had a third place.
Didn't Travis win a medal at Zloty?
95 kilos.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 95 kilo class, I'm one of those 3 people. And what was funny that day was I pulled Angarbayev, right? And I was able to kind of stop him, his top roll, like out here on the fingers. Then we go straps. I could still stop him, but of course he was too strong. And the Georgian guys said, "Man, Herman, you're really strong." And I said, "No," I said, "Angarbayev is strong." And they said, "Yeah, but you stopped him," because nobody in the class could even stop Angarbayev. So doesn't really mean anything. You don't get points for that, but a really cool, I guess, moment in my arm wrestling career. And I kind of segued. What was the question?
The question was where exactly you are right now compared to your prime peak form.
It's hard to tell. I've had nerve issues in my neck that weaken my bicep and my hands, mostly left-handed, but it will impact my right hand at times. I've done a lot of chiropractic work in the last year. I think that's better, but it's one of those things that will come and go. So I have to stay on top of it. My right elbow has taken on so much damage from Todd Hutchings, Robbie Burnett, Paul Passmore, David Dadikyan. But I think it's coming back. My left may be the best it's ever been. And that's because I'm training Jonathan. Jonathan's left-handed. He's a really good left-hander. So my left's really good. My right's okay. This past weekend, last week, I pulled at Texas State. They did super heavyweight first, and I ended up pulling Doug Allen early. Doug Allen was, I think, a little bit lighter than me, but Doug Allen's a very good arm wrestler. I was able to take his hand, but I went off the back of the pad, and then we went hook. I went like full hook, all bicep, shoulder square, and I was able to have a really long match with Doug. And my bicep was never that good anyway. So for me to hold in a bicep control position, it's pretty interesting. Eventually, I started transitioning my shoulder in kind of hesitantly because I'm kind of scared, and my elbow held up. I did lose the match. I think it was 40 seconds, but the next day I had no issues, right? A little bit sore, but no pain. My elbow wasn't like frozen like Michael Todd. I didn't have any of the swelling. So I think it's coming back.
All right. And I'll ask you who you would like to face next, any call outs or anything, but towards the end of this interview when we have already discussed the matches of King of the Table. So let's move on to King of the Table. First of all, did you get to watch the pay-per-view? And if you did, what were your thoughts about like the quality of the pay-per-view, the streaming quality, commentary, interviewing,
Yeah,
everything?
I watched all 5 hours or whatever it was. I sat at my desk. I told my wife, "Hey, this tournament starts at noon. I'll tell you when I'm done." And I mean, it just hour after hour after hour after hour. But it was awesome. Um, I think there might have been one audio glitch, maybe. But outside of that, I don't think I saw any problems. I don't really remember a clear audio problem. I don't really remember a video problem. Sometimes the files, the little the names at the bottom, sometimes it'll say 3 files when there's 1 file. I don't think they made any mistakes. I could be wrong, but I thought it was an excellent pay-per-view.
Yeah. So
What about you? Did you see anything that looked weird? I mean,
no, the thing is that I was not able to monitor it that well because I was doing my live commentary. So I cannot
oh
hear,
yeah.
I cannot hear anything. Like I'm just watching the video. So I cannot comment much about that. And I didn't even get to really watch the first 2 matches that were from the tournament finalists. What do you think about that format? Did you like it when they were given a chance to be on a big stage? There was a local tournament on that same day, maybe few hours, 5-6 hours before that, and then the finalists were.
Yeah, I don't really care for it. I mean, are they amateurs or are they not amateurs? Right? So if they're really amateurs, then no, they shouldn't even be on the TV. They should have given that time to somebody else, And if they're not amateurs, I watched some of the matches. I said, I don't think these guys are amateurs. Like some of them really knew how to arm wrestle. And so if they're not amateurs, then I should have been in the tournament.
So
You know?
you can go there, but this tournament on 1st of October, it was for Dubai, the people who are living in Dubai or only. Like who
So
have
not
work.
an amateur tournament, just Dubai only,
Yeah,
residents only.
residents
Yeah.
only. Maybe if you have
Yeah. So
work visa or something, you are also allowed, but it was for residents only. And the tournament that will be international tournament will be on 28th of October. If you go there and win that tournament, you will get a chance to be on King of the Table card, like the main card.
yeah, you cut out. I had a phone call, but basically, right, the tournament is for residents.
Yeah, on 28th of October there will be an international tournament, and if you win that, you will get an opportunity to be on the main King of the Table card.
Oh wow. Yeah. So and like arm wrestling is so different now. It's really not. It's not simple and straightforward. When did you start? When did you get into arm wrestling?
Like watching arm wrestling or
Yeah,
actually
watching. Yeah, watching.
watching, I would say very casually, like watching Travis Bagent highlights, Devon Laird highlights, Denis Saplenkov. Like I was only watching these 3 highlights maybe back in 2016 or 15. But when I actually got really into the sport, like as a hardcore fan of arm wrestling, when I bought my first pay-per-view, it was I think in 2018. So since then you can say I've been watching everything, not missing anything about arm wrestling.
Yeah. So you're still part of like the new crowd. I mean, I
Yeah,
think you saw a little bit of the old stuff, but
yeah,
man, when I started 5 years, 10 years ago, it was only about who was good. Like amateurs, like who cares? You wouldn't even put them on screen, and there was no money. But although I say that I wouldn't have put those people on the show, like there's politics, there's money, there's sponsorship. So if you're in Dubai and maybe they're helping sponsor the event, maybe there should be some Dubai residents on the event, right?
yeah.
And not just some, white Americans and Khaled,
I'm
So I understand it's different. I have to understand like the different perspectives and reasons people do things in arm wrestling now. It's just completely different.
I'm always a big fan of inviting more guys from where actually you belong to, your country or wherever the event is being held. I've messaged Neil Pickup and also Engin Terzi, just please invite more UK guys in your event. Please invite more Turkish guys in your event. They also deserve to get a chance. And that thought maybe comes from watching cricket, like Indian Premier League, one of the biggest sporting leagues in all over the world. And like they have a rule, you have to have in an 11 player team, you have to have 7 Indian players. You can invite only 4 overseas players. That is the rule. Like, doesn't matter how much money you have, there is always a fixed amount of money that you can spend to buy a team, and you can have only 4 foreign players. So that kind of policy, arm wrestling is not ready for that yet. Maybe if the
Yeah.
event is being held in countries like USA or Georgia, then they can have mostly players from those countries, but we're definitely not in that place. But I would love to see more locals getting some opportunities.
Yeah, and they did it the right way. They said, it was just the amateur tournament or something like that. If they would have pulled or had those guys do a super match just like everybody else, that would have been bad because they're not on that level. It would have been really fake.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you. I love the diversity. I was telling Ingen, I said we need to, for East versus West, we need, France, Germany, some of these other countries that we don't see, or even India. Now, again, I don't want to take some amateur guy and just put him on the card because he's from a country. But, if these countries have people with talent, I'd love to see Pakistan and India and Iran and Germany and France and Spain, all these other countries. I'd love to see that on the card.
And I think if you do not have a very elite level talent on the table, if you have other skills like you can commentate, you have a good social media presence, they can always help. Because Ryan Bowen is clearly not a world champion. He may think that he is, but he isn't.
Yeah.
But he has many other talents as well, like a big YouTube channel. He can commentate well. So all of those, combining all of those aspects, he can get into East versus West. And Engin is a hardcore arm wrestling fan. Like, he respects talent more than anything else. But right now, he has also started respecting the social media presence, inviting Ryan Bowen.
Because whether Ingen's on the business side. Now, he's not trying to make money, but you have to bring in enough money to cover the expenses, So he's learning.
Yeah. So let's get back to the matches. First match, Khaled Jashell versus Schoolboy. What were your initial thoughts, your prediction about this match?
I don't remember my initial predictions, but I'll tell you this about Khaled. People think, some people consider me a technical arm wrestler. I think Ingen does too. I'm not the strongest guy usually in the class. But I love strength. I love arm wrestling as a strength sport. I love training for strength. I'm a weightlifter, before arm wrestling. That's what I would do. Not competitively, but that's what I enjoy doing. And most of my training is weightlifting. So when Khaled came and he broke all his grip records in one day, back to back to back. Oh, I'm the biggest fan, right? Yeah. And so if you told me that Khaled was going to beat Schoolboy easy, I would say, okay, yeah, I believe it, right? So I will not be surprised at anything that Khaled does, because his athletic potential is just so far beyond, almost everyone we know, right? You have to go literally to the number one guy in a weight class possibly to say, okay, is this guy like Khaled, right? And it looks different. The Khaled equivalent in the 154 class looks different, but he's a freak too, right? But even then, I don't think we have many Khaleds in arm wrestling, even with all the freaks that we have, right? I think Rob Vigent's natural. I think Rob Vigent's a freak. Is he like a similar Khaled, just in a different weight class? I don't know. Khaled's super, man. It's crazy. So I'm a fan. Yeah. So
it's a rare combination, two Khaled fans on one screen. It may not have happened ever. I'm also a big Khaled fan. I don't know why people hate him so much. They were literally like, why is he even in this card? He's going to get destroyed. I was like, really? I don't think so. Last time I also, I was saying, I was literally messaging everyone, just trust me, Khaled is going to beat Larry Wheels. And everyone was like, nah, not happening. And this time also, just before the live stream, I was saying that I think Khaled got this match. I think he got Schoolboy. And nobody was ready to believe that either.
Yeah, I really wish we had arm wrestling's big, a list of all these people, right? The people that support Ryan, people that don't support Khaled, And I bet you the same people that would want Ryan on some of these cards are people that don't want Khaled on the card. And it makes no sense whatsoever. Right? So Khaled is the guy you would actually put on the card. Now, Ryan's pretty good now, and I'll give him his credit. But the Ryan years ago that was doing super matches, no, you wouldn't put him on those cards. He was only on the cards because of his YouTube channel. Khaled is the one you would put on there, even though he's not a real arm wrestler, because he's a freak.
Yeah.
You know, that makes good television.
I think Herman, arm wrestling needs to, like some of the arm wrestling elites from all fields, maybe some good YouTubers that have over 100,000 subscribers and world champion arm wrestlers, they need to like come up with the definition of who is an arm wrestler and who isn't an arm wrestler. Some guys are saying that Ryan Bowen isn't an arm wrestler, that some are saying Khaled isn't an arm wrestler, and some are telling me that I'm not an arm wrestler. So like, what exactly is the definition? There are no clear levels in arm wrestling. Like, you are strength and technique level 75 out of 100, then you qualify as an arm wrestler. Like, who exactly is an arm wrestler?
Yeah.
I think those guys who are telling me that I'm not an arm wrestler, I spend maybe 10 times more doing something about arm wrestling compared to them. And if you talk about level of arm wrestling, there is no certain level. Either you need to be a national champion, you need to have competed in Zloty or WEF. There needs to be a clear definition. If Khaled is not training for arm wrestling, if he's still beating the arm wrestler in Schoolboy, then how can you say that Khaled is not an arm wrestler?
Yeah. And so I'll tell you this, it may be different. You know, think again, things are changing. Historically, I would say if you watched arm wrestling was so small that if you pulled one tournament, they would say, oh, you're an arm wrestler. You're part of the family, because the group was so small, you know? So yeah, I would say you're an arm wrestler, right? And Bowen's an arm wrestler. Khaled would be one where I'd go, no, he's probably not an arm wrestler. He could be really good, but I really don't know how much he's training, you know? And the truth is, so what? He's pulled some super matches. He's been on YouTube arm wrestling channels. He's pulled King of the Table. Now he's probably an arm wrestler, even if he's not training for it, you know? Yeah. So there's no strength level, but people do need to understand that, you know, some people think they're better than they are and they're more important. Most arm wrestlers are recreational. They would be like the people that play basketball down the street, right? Like John Brzezinski would be like Michael Jordan, you know, Dennis Saplinkoff would be like Shaquille O'Neal. And then most arm wrestlers are not NBA. They're not college level. They're not even high school level. They are people that just go to the gym and shoot basketball. You know, like I play basketball, but me playing basketball is like what most arm wrestlers are. It's just a hobby.
So what did you see in this match? Like, did it go as you expected? Did you see anything special?
No, there's no way I could have predicted. No way I could have predicted this match. I think I was jumping up and down watching it. It was incredibly exciting. You know, some people complained about the King's move or Khaled doing this. I thought that was all legal in King of the Table. You know, so I didn't, even when I was watching it, not at one point did I say, oh, he's doing the King's move, this is a bad match. It was a great freaking match. Yeah. And what was interesting was that Schoolboy was dying in round 2, like sweating all over the place, breathing hard. And you could just tell that Khaled, no sweat, no breathing. I mean, just an incredible athlete, you know. But I was really happy. This is a great match. I love that match.
I talked with many arm wrestlers and everyone was saying that Schoolboy is a good top roller. He should contest Khaled's hand. And if you go to my channel, I said maybe 10 times that I can bet anything that you want. Schoolboy is not going to top roll Khaled. It is just not happening no matter how much Schoolboy trains. If Khaled doesn't train today, he stops training today and Schoolboy trains for 2-3 more years, I would still say that Schoolboy is not going to top roll Khaled. And literally everyone was saying, even I think Engin was also saying he's going to try to top roll. And I was like, no, Engin, that is not going to happen. Khaled is not getting top rolled by Schoolboy. Because we have seen that. He takes Michael Todd's hand. Devon Ladd needed, like, I know it was a practice pull. He needed like 1 minute of effort to actually bend Khaled's wrist back. So that was clearly not happening. And I saw real good technical proficiency from Khaled. Like in a single round, he was hooking, he was trying to top roll, he was kings moving, and he was pressing all in one round. And that is very, very good stuff from a beginner.
Yeah, and on the top roll thing, I pulled Schoolboy, and Schoolboy's bigger brother Alex told him, "You cannot top roll Herman.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen," and it didn't happen. Now maybe Schoolboy took it easy on me. I don't know, but if you can't top roll me, I've got a decent hand. But if you can't top roll me, Khaled has like some of the strongest hands in the entire world, and they're big. That's the difference. You know, if you have a super strong hand and your fingers are short, you know, someone can maybe get outside your fingers. But Khaled's hand is probably like this, you know. So I'm not surprised, and that's why strength matters. You know, I was telling Bowen for years to lift weights, like you got to get strong. But Bowen's like, no, I'm gonna do my bands and I'm gonna arm wrestle and do light weights like Devin. You know.
This is I do not.
Now he's a power lifter.
I don't getting training from the best coach out there. So I don't really know much stuff about training because I do not really train myself. But even I said few months ago that at least the super heavyweights, if not the lightweight categories, arm wrestlers have gotten away with not training their entire body for many years. I don't think when the competition gets more tough, I think they will have to train their entire body. Maybe not so much of squats and stuff, but at least some overhead presses, at least some deadlifts or bench presses. Super heavyweights do have to train their whole body right now. Like Devon is doing that one arm only stuff, but I don't think many people can get away with it. Like you need some entire body strength to be a super heavyweight. Like just assume if Devon was training everything, his entire body, he was able to get to what 285, 86 pounds to pull Levan. Maybe he could his right arm wouldn't have gotten any stronger, but maybe he could have gotten to 300 pounds in a similar body composition if he trained his whole body. Maybe that could have helped a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, you said that the lightweights are getting away without training their whole bodies.
No. I said lightweights may get away because they do not want an extra size on their legs and body. But I'm talking about super heavyweights. They have also been getting away without training their entire body, and they should train. They have no excuse for.
Yeah, and I think the super heavyweights have gotten away with not training.
Yeah.
You know, now the level is so high, right? The supers are more technical, they're faster. So now they really have to train and push it to a new level.
And you were mentioning your match with the Schoolboy. When I was making a prediction video about this match, I did make a reference to that match. That Schoolboy, when he tried to top roll Herman Stevens, it didn't work out. He had to hook him and beat him. There is no way that he's going to top roll Khaled. And he didn't, and he knew that. He didn't even attempt to top roll him. Like first round, he was grabbing low, going for that hook. There was one time where he tried to top roll. He just again, memories from 2020 practice poll, he just clinched onto his thumb and pressed him to the pad.
Arm wrestling strength sport. If you take Khaled and you said, hey, here's some arm wrestling exercises. Do this, do this, do this. On day one, he's going to be stronger than me. Like it's nuts. And he has no neural efficiency. So he doesn't even know his body's not even used to it. So if you actually train him for like 6 months, I mean, it's crazy.
Like from whatever limited knowledge I have, if I were to advise something to Khaled, I would advise him to train only pronation. Like he already has everything else, but in all of the matches, he's getting turned palm up. He's getting turned palm up with Larry as well. And whenever he's kings moving like that. Like he's totally palm up and still kings moving and holding people. Imagine if he has that rolling kings move. Like he's going to be unstoppable if he adds pronation into his arsenal.
But I mean, he could do 2 exercises. I mean, you do internal rotation. I mean, I know he's strong, but he's not conditioned. If he just did internal rotation every day, go to 70%, 80%, I mean, crazy.
So Bowen I think he has agreed for a rematch with Khaled. How do you see that match going in February 2023, King of the Table 6?
I don't know, right? And so how does Bowen compare to Schoolboy? So Schoolboy and Khaled had an absolute war. is Bowen stronger than Schoolboy? And I think that's a possibility, right? Bowen's an older guy, some history of PED use. Not sure what he's using right now. He's super heavy, and Bowen's very technical arm wrestler. I think it could be a pretty good match. I don't know where Schoolboy is in terms of overall endurance. I think Bowen's very high on the endurance scale. But Khaled just took a loss to Bowen, and I have a feeling he's going to train. And that's one thing I like about Khaled. We talked about, putting people on arm wrestling super match cards. Bowen would always say, "Oh, I can be the best guy in my weight class." It just sounds crazy. When Khaled says, "Oh, I'll beat these two guys back to back," it's awesome, right? Because it's not bullshit, And maybe Ryan really believes it, but maybe he doesn't. Khaled truly believed that he is just so far superior to these guys that he was going to win 2 arm wrestling super matches back to back. So, and like, I wish I was this way, but Khaled is so intense and serious. Like, I think he's going to go train, and he's going to want to destroy Ryan Bowen, right? I think he's probably offended that Ryan beat him, even though he had already pulled a match. The mentality, I love it.
Because in second round, when Ryan Bowen had everything, he was trying to tire him out, and he was trying to dad move him. His wrist was going back, and he immediately switched to a king's move slip. So that shows you something. His hand was still not top roll. He still cannot top roll him. Like, his hand was too much. Like, he cannot contain
and I hope the guy trains. I don't care. Like, I don't need Bowen to lose or Khaled to win. I want it to be a really good match, but I want Khaled to train because I think he could be good for arm wrestling.
All right. So next match was what was the next match? How can I forget?
Irakli, maybe.
Irakli versus Lachlan and Adair. Did you expect Lachlan to do anything in this match?
I think I was unsure. I've been busy, so I don't really think about it too much. But what I didn't like, and what made me know that Lachlan couldn't do anything, was the fact that they pulled left-handed the day before or 2 days before or something.
Day before.
And I hate when arm wrestlers do this. I hate it when Devin did it with Wagner. Now, they pulled the actual
it was
left
the same
hand.
arm, yeah.
But we knew, so the match to me was ruined. I knew Devin would beat Wagner. When Devin and Dennis pulled, I probably still thought Dennis was going to win. But when they pulled, now I knew Dennis would win. And then when Lachlan pulled Irakli, I think Lachlan looked good at first, and then Irakli tried, and he didn't look so good. Then I think they went hook, and Irakli kind of pulled him out of his hook. Do I remember that correctly?
No. At first, it was in a hook when he was not trying. Then they were almost like Lachlan was initiating for a kind of a hook or a press, something between these two, and Irakli was just blocking with pronation and just pulling him out of that.
Yeah. So when I see something like that, I go, now again, left hand versus right hand, who knows? But I go, Lachlan's probably going to lose. But to me, it was a wasted match. Kind of a bummer. I wouldn't have scheduled the match. I think Neil Pickup said he wouldn't schedule the match. And this, again, maybe this is me being old, grumpy Herman from, an old school arm wrestler. Like, I remember when you had to go win some matches, you know what I mean, to kind of get on the card, And now Australia's tough. COVID was tough. Lachlan's the best in Australia. But I think everyone who knows anything didn't think he could win. So I'm not saying don't put Lachlan on the card, but put Lachlan against somebody else, where it could be a good match. So I don't think it's, Ryan says it's helping him because now Lachlan just trains harder. Okay, so if that's the case, don't ever win a match. Just keep pulling people stronger than you. You'll be the best that you could be, but you'll never win a match. So I don't know. Maybe Lachlan should pull Jonathan Brita. So it's a call out. Breeda's a hooker. Lachlan likes to hook. Breeda's probably top 10 in North America right now. And Breeda's 230 pounds. So maybe those two guys should pull. That would make more sense than Sandra's, than Irakli.
But left-handed, isn't Pavlo ranked higher than Jonathan Breeda? I would assume Pavlo would beat Breeda, and Lachlan already beat Pavlo.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Jonathan has the last win on Pavlo. And so I don't know how Pavlo got the ranking.
I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I think Pavlo is ranked higher.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Jonathan has the last win on him. And Jonathan's come to my house, again, 5 days a week for the past 6 months. So I really like Pavlo, but Pavlo's not beating Jonathan.
Right. And you were mentioning Ryan telling himself and all of us that he can be the number one guy in his weight class, and that is not even the number one guy in the world in that 100 kg weight class. And you can see the difference here. Lachlan doesn't even feel Ryan Bowen, and Irakli doesn't even feel Lachlan, and he's not even the number one guy in his weight class. So this is like, I don't know how many levels are there.
It's a huge gap. Now people grow and develop over time, but why even say it? Mm-hmm. I don't think a young Irakli was on social media saying, I'm going to be the best guy at 100 kg. Yeah. He just did it.
So next match, Artyom Morozov versus David Dadikyan.
Wow. Man, David is a beast. Like I said, he injured me. He fucked my elbow up. And then he just kept getting better. But I don't know if you got his hand and wrist was just truly amazing. Like when he hooked Morozov and pinned him, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then he top rolled Morozov. And then he hooked Morozov, and then he top rolled Morozov again. Now I think he didn't pin him 4 times, but one of them was like a foul.
Yeah, foul.
But it was just like, okay, I'll hook you, I'll top roll you, I'll hook you, I'll top roll you. Super easy. Very impressed. And I didn't rewatch the match, so I couldn't tell that Morozov did anything different, or if David just crashed.
Yeah.
I
think in the 4th round, in the beginning of 4th round, David, maybe he missed the start because he was very fast in the first 3 rounds. Maybe he missed it, or maybe he was not so much aggressive anymore. He thought he can win it easily, but Artyom got the start. Like he got his hand, and David was trying to catch him like this without the straps, and when he realized he cannot curl him in, he just slipped underneath. And after that, he put him in a hook again, and then 5, 6, 7 surges, that much from the pad, and he just couldn't finish.
Yeah. But again, once he put him in the hook, 5, 6, 7 surges, that should have been an easy hook match after watching the first 3.
Yes.
I just don't see where the damage went. My only theory is that whatever supplements he was on, they wore off. They lasted 30 minutes, and then you crash. Imagine you drink a bunch of coffee, and then once it's gone, you're going down. But just truly amazing how he fell off a cliff.
Yeah. Because after that, Morozov was top rolling him. But if you remember, still when Morozov had everything, he still couldn't just finish him with the top roll. He was holding him like that with a broken wrist, and then Morozov had to come up with a press to beat him. But that is just insane. Yeah, Morozov right now is the number 1 ranked guy, left arm in the world, in the absence of course, Dennis and Levan. Vitaly also not competing. I'm not sure Vitaly can be at that level or not. But he's hooking the number 1 guy in the world. And then he's top rolling him, and he's not even a top roller. His ace move is not a top roll, and he's top rolling the number 1 guy in the world. So that is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Both of these athletes, again, only 24 years old.
Yeah, and just I think Ingen said, some dramas don't need words, right? Some matches that people talk trash back and forth. I don't think these guys. I don't know if they said anything. I can't understand what they're saying, even if they want to say something. But to go 3-0, and I'm sitting here going, okay, I guess I'll take a bathroom break. Maybe I'll go get some food because this match is over with. To 4-3 Morozov winning, and or was it 3-3? But maybe Dadikyan quit the last match.
He quit the last
Yeah.
match.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I was happy enough with the Schoolboy Khaled match being wars, but then to get another war, have we ever seen a pay-per-view like this?
And people were saying that this is the worst King of the Table card ever, and that turned out to be the best card ever.
Yeah, I have people messaging me saying, "Oh, I'm not wasting my money on the King of the Table." I said, "Well, I like watching arm wrestling. You support when you can." And yeah, it just turned out to be the great. So I told them what was happening, and then they're like, "What's happening next? What's happening next?" But yeah, just an amazing match.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you this, I was worried because I saw this match and David goes up 3-0 and I said, holy shit, this is going to look bad for East versus West, right? Because Morozov would be pulling Hermes for the heavyweight title.
Yes.
But then we know that David is way better, assuming it was 4-0,
Yeah. And it could have been 4-0. This is what I was saying, that if let's just assume, I know it was not East versus West, but if it was East versus West, we would be sitting here talking about how far ahead David is from Artyom Morozov. Like, we wouldn't even have known that.
Yeah.
Like, just the difference of one round. And Herman, this is why I personally do not like this 6-round format. I would definitely love to know your thoughts about that, but I just don't understand. If you top roll a guy, if you hook up and beat him, and in third round if you press him, you've done everything. You've put him down 3 times. I'm not sure what is there left to prove anymore after that. Endurance,
I don't know
endurance. That is the only thing. Yeah,
I don't know if it's about proving anything. I don't know if it has anything to do with the athletes. I think it's really about the TV.
More rounds, more drama.
Yeah, more rounds, more drama. You do 3-0, David wins. He waves at everybody. He leaves. It's really not that exciting.
Yeah.
It's really boring. Like I told you, I said, when I saw 2-0 and how easy it was, hook, top roll, I said, well, I'm going to go get some food. I can leave. But if it wasn't for that 6-round format, we wouldn't have had such a crazy, we really wouldn't have had such a crazy night in general, right?
Mm-hmm. Because same thing goes for the main event as well. Like,
yeah. East, and then, I was telling someone, I was like, it wasn't long ago that people, super heavyweights, were having best of 3 rounds. Right. Can you imagine how boring Dave Chaffee is in best of 3 rounds? He just does this 2 times and it's over with, because he beats everyone in the first 2.
Yeah. But these 2 athletes, David Dadikyan and maybe Vitaly Laletin as well, they would wish that if that super match happened at East versus West, they would have been crowned the champions.
Yeah. And man, and that's what I'm saying about David getting tired, maybe due to supplementation or whatever, or maybe just being drained. The match was 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
I think, I wouldn't be on any crazy supplements, but I'd probably say after 30 minutes, I would be crashing down too. That's long. That's a very long time. And I don't understand. They gave him, like Ryan said, David had 5 minutes rest.
Yeah, I was also complaining about that thing, and people in the comments, I read a few comments. I haven't read that, like when I uploaded a review video of King of the Table, and they're like, you're just a hater. Now, no, I'm not a hater. Like, the rule says the rest should be 90 seconds. I just want the rule to be followed. If you need more, change it to 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I don't care. Change it to 10 minutes if you want. I don't care about that. But follow whatever is written. This is all what I was saying. And people think that I'm a hater. This was a perfect card, perfect matches. Why can't you support? I am supporting. If we do not give them the right feedback, how are they going to improve in the future? They were literally taking maybe more than 5 minutes rest, at least 5 minutes in some of the rounds. Schoolboy versus Khaled was also like 2, 3, 4 minutes rest between those rounds.
And it wasn't just a lot of rest in between rounds. They would have a start,
slips and fouls,
or
everything.
A slip or an elbow foul, and they would take 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they were after a long round or a long start, but in between starts, they were taking a ton of time.
Yeah. And David was not happy with he was clearly gassed out, and he was not happy with the straps. Like, he was telling the referee to remove the strap. He was going to, I counted. David was near that chalk, whatever you call it, and he was applying chalk on his elbows 5 times. 5 times he took chalk from there and he was applying it on his elbow. At that time, it is quite clear, man. Like, you should call him on the table and tell him that you are getting a warning, and if you don't come back here in 30 seconds, you're getting a foul.
Yeah, yeah. And but like people say you're a hater, that changes the match. You know, like you said, the match is completely different if you do 5 rounds or 6 rounds. Well, it's completely different if you do 90 seconds rest or 5 minutes rest.
Yeah.
You know, and so, like you said, stick to the rules.
Yeah. And the final, no, not the final. How can we forget Ryan Bowen? Bowen versus Khaled Jashell. Did you expect Khaled to win that match after a war with Schoolboy?
No. Definitely not. It's just, I mean, he just went max effort, 6 rounds, multiple times per round. And then like with Khaled, his arm had already gone straight.
Yeah.
Right. Now that doesn't mean he has no bicep strength left, but once you get stretched out like that, you know, there's really not much you can do. And like I said, he's not a chump, you know, and he's technical. So even if Ryan was weaker or even more like weaker than he is, Ryan would be able to figure out a way to beat Khaled, you know. But like I said, I think it's really awesome that Khaled thought that he could win, you know. Anyone can say they would win. Like Bowen one day, he may say, oh, I'll beat this guy and then I'll beat another guy. But we know it won't be true. We know it'll just be, you know, social media stuff. But Khaled really thought he could win, and I thought that was kind of the cool thing about it. But I don't know. I wouldn't have set that matchup.
Right.
You know, like why? And even if it was still close, like, okay, now does Khaled get injured? You know what I mean? Like at some point you have to protect the athlete. And so that's one reason why I wouldn't set that matchup.
So I would like to ask you one thing about this match, Herman. There was 1 second round where Ryan Bowen had to slip because he was getting top rolled when he tried to dead move him. And after that, Ryan offered Khaled a strap because it was not a strap because it was an elbow foul called on Ryan. Would the strap have made a difference? And if you were Khaled in that place, would you have asked for or agreed for a strap?
No, I think the strap would have favored Ryan. And so if I'm Khaled, yeah, I wouldn't have asked for it at that point because I don't think it was Khaled's hand that was failing. You know, I think it was Khaled's arm that was getting tired. Now Ryan would know better, you know, in terms of like what weakness he was feeling. But I think the strap probably was just giving Ryan even more control over his hand. But I could be wrong.
Okay. So let's talk about the final match, Dave Chaffee versus Vitaly Laletin. Like almost everyone was saying that this match can go either way. Like it is a 50-50. But no one was saying that this is going to be a war. Like everyone was predicting it can go fast either way. Like Dave is going to either pin him or Vitaly is going to just beat him on speed. But it was nothing that anyone expected. It was a war. Like maybe the entire footage when it will be out, it is like 57 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and I thought Vitaly was going to win this pretty easy. That was kind of my take on it. But clearly I was wrong. Very impressed with Dave, not just taking the winning side of the table, sitting there with his hand bent back, waiting and pulling with like outside, you know, riser control without his wrist, you know, like this. And then like, it was amazing. I go, okay, Dave wins 1, Dave wins 2. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, it's going to happen again. You know, because you could tell he was getting tired. Yeah, truly shocked. And then at some point he does the flop press and I'm just like, this is the most amazing thing ever. Because I don't think I've ever seen Dave press anybody. Have you seen it?
Yeah, he tried to press Michael in the second round of WL 2019. And he got like he was in a perfect press position. Like he was completely
like on the start position from a start?
No,
or
not
he
from
was
a,
top
not from a
and
start.
then he came back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not from a start position. Or maybe it was, but I don't remember. Maybe he tried that after 5 seconds after the go happened, but he was in a very good comfortable flop position, but Michael has a very good defense for that. Like he may be the only one who can stop Jerry in that open arm top roll. No one else can
Yeah.
do that in this world.
Yeah, so I mean, so they may have pressed in that round, but I've never seen him do it. And then when I saw him go like full on, I thought it might have been a little bit illegal, the setup.
Yeah.
But no, it was crazy. I mean, this is like this is the greatest pay-per-view I've ever seen. And then like I'm so happy for Dave to get over the hurdle, because I wouldn't have wanted to see Dave lose another match after going up 2-0. And he's got another tool. So I'm just curious, is this a weapon Dave uses, in the future?
I saw a Facebook post from Dave Chaffee. It was a still where he was flop pressing Vitaly, and he wrote under it, it has been a very long time since I used that move. This is what Dave wrote.
Yeah.
So again, I got a lot of heat for this match. Usually my videos get 96, 97, 98% likes, but I watched that video where I uploaded the review and I intentionally put that title, was Vitaly Laletin robbed, so that it would get more views, and it got more views, but it had like 84% likes and 16% downvotes. And in that video, my question was, I clearly mentioned that whatever these referees were doing, it helped Vitaly as well. In one round, he got pinned by Dave, but then it was called an elbow foul.
Yeah. Okay. So now that I'm remembering, everything happened the way it should. It's a great match, but back and forth, I kept going, what the fuck are these people doing?
Yeah.
It's a running foul, Vitaly elbow fouls, and they stopped the match. I think they did it twice, maybe once or twice.
Twice.
And then Vitaly,
he pinned him.
Vitaly was pinning Dave down and Dave sliding off the back, and they called a javelin. Like, javelin? Like, I don't know if I've heard that. Is that some Devon rule bullcrap?
No. It is something that you did to Wayne Withers.
Yes. No. I like javelins. I like to throw the javelin, but that's a normal arm wrestling move. Like, if I grab your fingers and your body's going down and I press to open your arm to pin you, this is normal. How is that pushing someone off the back of the pad? This is ridiculous. So where did that come from? I mean, do you know?
So
I
first
haven't seen that called somewhere else.
you're talking about the round that was without the straps.
Correct.
Right? I'm talking.
Yeah.
Maybe you forgot one round that was inside the straps, totally inside, and Vitaly was the one who was trying to do that flop press, and he took Dave that much near to the pad, and it was just like that. Vitaly stood up, and he literally, like, it was a very normal press. He pressed him to the pad, and the referee stopped. No, foul on you because you were pushing him off the back of the pad.
Yeah. So like, this is weird. It's such a long match. I probably have to go rewatch that round to remember that.
That was the fifth round. So they were 2-2,
Gotcha.
and Vitaly was like in this position. He was trying to finish, but he couldn't. He stood up and he pressed him, and the referee called the referee called an elbow, that foul on Vitaly for pushing Dave off the back of the pad. And Dave was also complaining that, yeah, my elbow went off the back of the pad. And I was like, I have never seen that being called, never in my life ever. And after that, the referee Tim Talmadge, he discusses it with the other referee, maybe sees something on the screen, I don't know, and then reverses the call. And after that, he was like, no, it is not a foul on Vitaly, it is a foul on Dave Chaffee.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it was weird, but it's funny that, as we're talking about it, I didn't bring up any of those referee issues because the match was so awesome.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been as awesome. It wouldn't have been as awesome.
When I was watching it, I complained about the referee calls, but I'd forgotten all about the stuff, until we just started talking about it, because the match was just freaking epic. But just weird stuff. Like, how do you have a running foul system and the match is stopping?
Yeah.
Like
not even a single time. Maybe you saw, I didn't see a single running foul on the entire card. Like, all of the matches that were getting stopped. Why do you even have a running foul after that?
No, I think they were calling them, and then like let's say someone would get pinned, and they would go, "Oh, there was a foul," and I think I was assuming that it was a foul on the pin, but it was really a foul that they had called, 10 seconds before. So I just think it really wasn't clear, but I'm pretty sure they were calling some running fouls earlier
So
and letting.
if the athletes are not aware that if I'm on a running foul or not, the fans who are watching, they are not aware if there is a running foul or not. What is
No,
the
it's a
point?
mess. It's
Yeah.
a mess. And like, I don't know if I've ever competed with the running foul system, and I'm not like against it. Like, I'm not going to say Arm Wars is bad, but as an athlete, I would be like, man, I'm going to get fucked up because I won't know that I have the runner, or then if they have a runner, I'm going to get confused because no one pulls this way. You don't pull this way in practice. Everywhere else you go, especially in the United States, the rules are more standard, like at tournaments. So you have no experience pulling in this situation, you know?
And in that sixth round, I think it was that you were talking about. Vitaly was grabbing him by the fingers. He was pinning him, and they were calling elbow fouls and restarts. I think it happened at least 2 times. He pinned him 2 times, and they were just restarts after that. That also, and I think maybe Dave ended up winning that round. I'm not sure who won that round. Maybe Vitaly did. But it was like he had to pin him 3 times, and it shouldn't have happened. If you have running fouls in place, he's doing elbow fouls and he's still getting pinned right after that and still getting a restart. In
The
VAF
truth is
situation,
that,
yeah.
go ahead.
Under VAF rules, it would have been for sure a restart. Like, even if the pin came 1 millisecond after the elbow foul, they would give it a restart. But under those rules, I'm not sure, because I heard Neil Pickup say that as well. Like, under any other rules, under Arm Wars rules, Vitaly wins that match 4 pins to 2, pretty easy.
I think even in WAF, I think it's still a win, but it depends on your arm angle. So if you go down here and then it slides, I think it's a foul for losing position.
Losing position foul, yeah. And
so
they
I think
also
I
discussed
think-
that. They discussed that in the briefing meeting, but they didn't follow it. Like, there was the foul and the pin were like very close to each other. It was very close. Then why was it not in a losing position? Because his arm was completely getting buried on the table. And same thing, there was one round, I think it was the 7th final round. There was a slip like very close to or maybe 6th round, very close to the pin pad. They didn't even review it if it was a slip. And Tim Talmadge clearly said that now we have a reference point of the hand peg, the top point of the hand peg. If you slip parallel to that or below that, then it is going to be a slip in losing position.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I mean, like that whole grabbing fingers and then pinning the guy as he's coming off the pad, that is like the most dominant way to beat somebody.
Yeah.
Like that guy is literally just running away because he can't do anything. So how is that not a win? It's just amazing.
And I think that also one time got a foul for Vitaly for pushing him.
Yeah, no, they said it was some kind of a javelin. This doesn't make any sense. But I don't know, where did this come from? I have no clue. I've never heard anyone call a javelin call.
So
because someone,
I think Neil Pickup, Uncle John, and Coach Ray, they started calling it a javelin during the last Arm Wars season. Like, when you're doing this move, like throwing a javelin.
Okay, but did they make the rule because they truly think that this is like you're not trying to arm wrestle and it should be called a foul? Or is it because Uncle John almost killed that guy?
I don't know. The rule is always there. You read any rule book and it is written, if you intentionally try to push your opponent off the back of the pad, it is a foul on
but
you.
Hold on. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so like, really it's like if you're like in a hook and you pop forward and you hit the guy's elbow off the back of the pad, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a failed top roll, or you got dumped. They grab your fingers and they take you to the pad. Like they.
And it is going to look like that. If I'm trying to run away from you, and you are trying to catch me and pinning me, if my elbow stays on the pad, it is going to look like I'm pushing you. But maybe it is you that is pulling me back.
But the difference is I think that the rule one, like let's say we're sitting in a hook, if I push straight forward and I pop your elbow off the back of the pad, me pushing straight forward was never going to help me win the match. Because I wasn't trying to necessarily open your arm. I wasn't trying to pin you. I'm literally pushing at your elbow pad.
Yeah.
But when you grab someone's fingers, you are actually pushing down to the table and below the pin pad. Like you're actually trying to pin the guy. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. They fucked that rule up. They implemented that rule incorrectly.
That pushing thing would be something like Travis Bagent would try to do to Michael Todd when he's hanging up hung him up with the king's move,
Yes.
and he does that.
Yes.
He does that.
Yes. But that's not what Vitaly was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just poor implementation of the rule.
So these were the thing that I was questioning. One more thing, I need some clarification, and I think I know that much. The rule says both competitors should start with a straight wrist. The rule does not say that you should not start with a cupped in wrist. The rule does not say. The rule says you should start with a straight wrist. So starting with a wrist like that, is it legal? This is what Dave Chaffee was doing in the final round or sixth round as well. Is it legal according to the rules? If Herman Stevens is the referee and he's told that you need to follow the rules strictly, is he allowing me to start like that?
Yeah, that's why I don't referee. I think I refereed maybe some like event in a park, like between two teams, and it was terrible. It was so terrible, and I felt bad because the match would start, and I start watching the match, and I go, "Fuck, I missed all that."
With me, it is completely opposite. I'm like, I there are very few things that I would never say I can be a great arm wrestler, but I think I can be a good referee. Because I am someone who is used to watching everything at 2x speed on YouTube. I've watched probably 5,000 matches at 2x speed. And whenever I watch these matches live, normal speed, it feels like slow motion to me. And I'm like, man, this is an obvious foul. How can a referee miss this?
Yeah.
So, answer. Do you think you can start like that?
I would need to read the rules, but if you tell me...
The rule simply says the athletes must start with a straight wrist.
Yeah, so if Vitaly complains, I have to think about it. Yeah. If he doesn't say anything, I'm probably going to let it go.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, to get your wrist back, okay, is his arm straight and his wrist... Well, my wrist is messed up. His wrist flexed here. Is he like this? Or his shoulder square, or is his shoulder here? Is his shoulder back here? That's what matters, But if he just sits here like this, and his wrist is backwards, yeah, I don't care. But again, the question is usually when they want their wrist backwards, they're also like
this is what Dave got in that round. I showed a screenshot.
That's the issue. It's not the wrist. It's where's his shoulder.
Yeah.
Where are both of his shoulders?
I showed the screenshot as well. The referee's hands were still on their arms. Like he was about to leave it. You can see it on his face. But the go had not happened at that point. And I had a screenshot for that. And Dave Chaffee's shoulders, like if this is square, Dave Chaffee was like that. And the referee still was not after the go position. Like the match still not started. And he was like this. And when I call out these things, they call me a hater. He's like, you're just a fan of Vitaly Laletin. This is why you're saying that.
No. I'm a fan of Dave Chaffee. I'm glad he won. I wanted him to win. But, I mean, we can discuss the facts. I mean, you can like somebody and still be honest.
Yeah. And even Gary Roberts was saying, I've watched a ton of matches, and you cannot argue that Gary Roberts has probably edited or watched more arm wrestling matches than anyone on this planet. And he was saying, like, I was totally messed up. I was like, Vitaly should have won 3-4 times already. Why wasn't he the winner when he was talking about the exact thing when he was pinning him. Like he was saying, I've always seen matches being won like that. I don't know why Vitaly wasn't the winner there.
Yeah. No, really weird. But again, like even as I was complaining, never once did I go, oh, they robbed Vitaly or he should have won. I was just so excited watching the match.
Yeah.
Like the drama was there, like it was excellent.
If the refereeing was perfect, that match wouldn't have ever gone into the history books. That something that it is going to achieve now, it wouldn't have happened.
And some would say that's why WAL was the way it was. There was a lot of drama because of the referee. Right. If the refereeing, if it was Leonard Harkless, there would be no drama. The matches would end sooner, and then maybe it wouldn't be as cool.
So I think that's it about this discussion of King of the Table 5. It was an amazing pay-per-view. Thanks to Core Sports, Don Idris, Adam Silver, whoever is putting that match up, and congratulations to all the athletes. And final question, Herman, who are you going to face next? Where do you want to compete next? Is it King of the Table? Is it East versus West? Do you think you can take on Khaled or Ryan Bowen or anyone? Like, what do you want
No,
next?
I mean, like I said, I don't think my right arm is there. And even if it's close, mentally it's not there. You know, I'm scared, and I just don't want to get hurt again. But my focus is training Brita, right? So Jonathan is set to pull in Canada, I think end of November. If everything goes well, hopefully it doesn't get canceled. And he's going to be pulling Vitaly Oniani. So Jonathan, I think, is going to be around 230, and Vitaly maybe, I don't know, 200 pounds, maybe 210. I don't know. He's a tall guy. So that's going to be a huge match for him. I don't know if I'm going to compete in the tournament there. But I would think maybe early next year I should be trying to do something. Ingen's asked me about East versus West. I'd love to pull there again, but you know, I'm fair and I'm very critical. So when I tell you that someone shouldn't be on a super match card, that applies to me too. So if I'm not ready, I don't need to be on East versus West. And I don't want some fake match or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair enough. So I planned it to be less than 30 minutes, but we are over and out. It clearly shows that both of us love talking about arm wrestling. Maybe we should have done it live. I thought that I'm not recording. I'm not doing it live because it is only 20-30 minutes. People would join by the time there will be like 100 people watching. We would already have to end it. But next time,
live is where it's at. I mean, because I get to talk shit to the people in the chat, you know, make fun of them. Yeah. So I like the live stuff. So we'll do it next time.
Next. Thank you very much for joining, brother.
That later.